Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I am Tanika, and today we are going to be discussing MILF Manor. Now, the reason I'm doing this first is because I can get this out quicker to you. I'm going to be trying my best to get AJ both episodes from last week and this week to you later on today, but we'll see how that goes. I was off yesterday from work, so we'll see how it goes. Which is why I didn't get any episodes yesterday, because I was on vacation. So yeah, spent the day with my man. Wasn't going to be doing any posting. But with that said, let's do some hot goss before we hop into the episode. So the first piece I have for you is Annie is pregnant. Annie Tobo is pregnant. As we know, she's been really sharing her journey with IVF, but she shared the news together with David in a video posted on Instagram on July 5th. So just on July 5th? Well, that's about 10 days ago. And she said, the test results said I'm pregnant. And David could be heard saying in the video, Annie is pregnant. Then he, obviously very happy. They said they received the news via a phone call and an email from Annie's doctor. And David kissed his wife's face as she thanked fans for the love and support they have shown her and her husband while they documented their IVF journey on social media. She said, keep sending prayers because I still need it. And she says she's very excited. So, yay. So this is kind of next piece that I have for you. First of all, congratulations to Annie and David. I'm very happy for them. I know this is a journey they've been on for quite a while, so I'm happy for them. But yes, we're going to take a hard left to something very different that I usually don't really stick to relevant topics here, but I thought like this for me was a lot, and because we are so far ahead on Next Take podcast, it's not going to be feasible to talk about it there, but I wanted to talk about it here. We had a lot of loss this past weekend. We're recording this on Tuesday, so we had a lot of loss this weekend. And there's another person who passed away that is kind of out of my world, but I do want to acknowledge her passing as well. But we had a lot of loss, which is insane to me. We have Richard Simmons, who was 76. He'd been MIA for quite some time. I know there was a lot of speculation, a lot of conspiracy. I don't want to touch into that at all, but I just want to acknowledge him because he has been such a part in, I think, a lot of our lives at some point. And for me, especially in my childhood, he been on Nutty Professor, who's on it anyway, and Lord knows is everything else. I mean, me and my brother would, we'd always kind of say, it looks like you're out of detergent. Remember he had like a commercial? It was, hey, Rumi. It was, gosh, so, very sad. I just wanted to read this part. This was on CNN. His brother, Lenny, paid tribute in a statement where he said, quote, I don't want people to be sad about my brother. I want them to remember him for the genuine joy and love he brought to people's lives. He truly cared about people. He called, wrote, and emailed thousands of people throughout his career to offer help. So don't be sad. Celebrate his life. Another person that we lost, Dr. Ruth, the sex doctor, who was so ahead of her time. I mean, again, a little before my time, but I definitely saw her as a child, actually. Probably shouldn't have been watching her. But yeah, I remember definitely seeing her, talking to all kinds of different people and putting advice out there for just, yeah, enjoy sex in a nutshell and educating people on it. And it's so ahead of her time. But I'm happy to know, though, that I wasn't the only one who thought she was already passed away prior to this. But nonetheless, yeah. Then the other person that I wanted to obviously talk about here is Shannon Doherty and her passing, which is fuck cancer. I think we can all agree. 53 years old is ridiculous. I feel there are no words for that when you're that young and it's due to fucking cancer. It's just, I feel like the last time I saw her on TV was it Grey's Anatomy? It was definitely a doctor show, either been Grey's Anatomy or Good Doctor. And it was her and her name's not coming to me right now, but her co-star from Charms. And I thought I think they were supposed to be sisters, which, yeah, duh. But yeah, I don't want to talk about that because we had a lot of loss this weekend and I think a lot of just shock. But before we end this segment off, we're going to slip back to Hot Goss for a minute. We'll do one more piece and then we'll head into the episode. So this is an update on Rachel and Brian's divorce process. A judge has ruled in Brian's favor when they declared that Brian's estranged wife, Rachel, now has to pay him $13,000 a month in temporary spousal support. Brian claimed that he needed that much in order to move out of their shared marital home. A hearing was held in Los Angeles Superior Court earlier this week, according to documents obtained by In Touch. Brian and Rachel both gave their testimonies, and the judge ultimately ruled in Brian's, saying Rachel is ordered to pay Brian temporary spousal support in the sum of $13,257 per month. The judge did not rule on whether Rachel will have to pay retroactive support. Brian told the judge, "Our current living situation is very awkward and strained. We generally do not even talk to each other and try to avoid each other. Rachel has security cameras outside our home. Only Rachel has the credentials to the security cameras, and Rachel can monitor my comings and goings," which we've heard before. He continued, "I want to move out of our family residence as soon as possible, but maintaining our standard of living is not financially feasible at this time." Brian also claimed that in order to support Rachel in her endeavors, he sacrificed his own career. However, Rachel fired back with her own statement saying, quote, "Since we separated, I have paid 100% of the mortgage, property taxes, homeowners insurance, maintenance and repairs, utilities, and costs of care for our pets, including their food, medicine, daycare, boarding, vet bills, pet insurance, on Brian's behalf while he refuses to vacate my home." I'm going to talk about that in a minute. "Except for paying our gardener and 50% of our housekeeping costs, Brian continues to reside in my house without contributing any funds to the carrying costs." On top of the staggering monthly payment, the Bachelorette alum also had to shell out $15,000 to cover fees from Brian's lawyers, as well as $5,000 for his forensic expert expenses. Earlier this month, TMZ reported that Brian had initially requested $16,000 a month in spousal support. Rachel offered up a sum of $9,882 in monthly payments, but Brian rejected the offer. In the court documents obtained by the outlet, Brian claimed that he only brought in approximately $1,700 a month from his work as a chiropractor in various side hustles. He claimed that Rachel's offer wasn't enough to cover the expenses to move out of their home in North Hollywood, California. While Rachel agreed that she should pay the spousal support, she felt like Brian's income should be inputted based on the earning capacity in the amount of $13,413 per month, which is reasonable given Brian's ability to earn working full-time prior to any order of spousal support payable from Rachel to Brian. The documents also reveal that Brian accused Rachel of blindsiding him with a divorce and accused Rachel of using the situation as a PR play to garner sympathy from the public. That's basically that. Oh gosh. So here's what I'm going to say on the Rachel and Brian thing, just some of the things that triggered me to be like, you can't be fucking serious. Number one, it is a lot of money, I believe, but that is the law. When you have a certain standard of living, you have to maintain that. On the one hand, he is fully employed, so you have to then adjust your standard of living now that you're not with someone who makes quite a bit of money. I believe that, but I don't know. The laws are different. As well as her saying, I mean, obviously, yes, if she's paying all of the house expenses and everything like that, but if you were doing it before, then there's no difference, right? There's no difference at all. I don't know what he was doing before in terms of finances and everything, but if she makes exceedingly more money than he does, and she was already doing that before all of this, then yeah, that's what you do. But her claiming he won't leave my home, it's my home. No, it's not. Rachel, you are a lawyer. Even if you're not a practicing one anymore, you are a lawyer. And you know how this fucking works. It is a matrimonial home. It is also his home. And in all honesty, either you have to pay him out or you have to sell the house. And he deserves half of that home, because that is what it is. That is the law. Doesn't matter whose name is on it. Doesn't mean shit. It is a matrimonial home. So her continuously saying, it's my home, my this, he will leave my home. That's not how this works. Now I know she's going through a divorce. You're going to be rational. I get it. But you are a lawyer. Think better and act better. So that's what I'm going to say. If he really did sacrifice his job for her to have this life outside of the Bachelorette, then I do believe he's owed something for that. Because otherwise we don't know what he would have done. I don't remember much about him besides, she picked him. I don't remember much about his background or anything like that. But if he was doing or was planning to do something different than what he ended up having to do, that's how this goes. You could have had a quiet life somewhere else where you would have been more equal. Yeah. Instead, you didn't. So that's on you. Listen, I have respect for Rachel being the first Black Bachelorette of this franchise, but she was never one of my favorites. Maybe that's a different take, but she was never one of my favorites. And that's kind of showing here in how she's acting with this. But nonetheless, I wish them the best. Let's move on. Let's talk MILF Manor. So, MILF Manor Season 2, Episode 12. The final episode. A MILF to remember. Now, I'm going to try and do, first of all, I love this movie. The song she sings in the okay. Sorry. Okay. I love this movie. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, I'm going to try and do the best that I can to give you some updates because they didn't give us anything, which pisses me off. I want updates, but I'm trying to do the best that I can to provide you what I can. I don't have any updates on any of the people who left after, like Jamie, Lynette, which I hate, but I don't have any updates on that. But it's mainly like some of the couples that leave together. I might have something, but again, it's not foolproof. I did, put out there on Twitter, Reddit, and I think YouTube as well. I think if anyone has any updates on them, let me know. But again, I'm going to say it again. If anyone has any updates, please let me know. If you see anything between now and then, like if I see anything pop up on my end after the fact, like I'll obviously talk about it, but I'll do my best to give you what I do have currently. So let's get to it. So it's the next day now, and Kelly says that it was very traumatic for her, the whole thing between her and Barbie. She's like, I was being nice to her. She kept attacking me. She's crying. She doesn't understand why she's being like this. I'll say why. I think I've been kind of staying really out of what's been going on social media up until this point. But what I didn't realize, listen, here's what I'm going to say. I think Barbie was definitely one of those people who really went on social media and really put herself out there. I mean, when I announced the cast of MILF Manor initially before the show even started, before I know anything about anybody, Barbie was one of the only people who liked it. I posted one of my clips from the episode. She was the only one who liked it. And I'm not saying anything bad about that. Thank you, Barbie. Love it. And I like her on the show, but apparently she might be a little unhinged in life. I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know her life. I don't know the struggles she's went through in life. We know what we know based on what she's told us, but listen, maybe she's unhinged. I don't know. But here's what I'm going to say. She might just be someone who doesn't know how to process certain things. I don't know if that's the right terminology to use, but she was a young mom. I know what it's like to be a product of being born to young parents. My mom was 19, my dad was 21. So I I don't know what it's like to be the parent. I don't know what it's like to be the kid. And saying that, it's not easy. She seems to probably have had a very tough life due to that. You know, she mentioned having to help pay her mom's phone bills and stuff like that. So like, you know, I think she has really been through it. So I think, you know, we're seeing things we call it quote unquote unhinged, but you know, I don't know, maybe it's best to stay off the social media and don't interact, but I don't know. But with this in particular, with this whole thing, I think Barbie is the kind of person that's like, and again, she's us. I think if we saw Kelly out in the wild, we're going to be nice to her for sure. But if we're going to be around her more closely in the same sense that Barbie was after watching her first season, you're going to be like, you're fucking nuts, right? Like, you were fucking nuts. You're out here like purposely trying to make Paola, I think what's her name, Paola? Was it Paola? What's his face's mom? Uncomfortable on purpose, acting a mess. You're going to be like, oh, she was a lot. Now, does that mean you act up a certain way? No, but that's what it comes down to. Was Barbie's choice incorrect? Potentially. But we all agree with her, right? I do. I agree with her. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway. So yes, there's that. So Crystal says Barbie has been starting arguments from the beginning. And she's like, you know, why do this and embarrass all of us in front of family and friends? Here's what I say. Number one, I agree with that part. I don't think this was the time or place. I get that. But I think because based on the word choices she used, it, you know, made Kelly feel away. And then just branched out from there. But number two, what are you talking about, Crystal? What fights? I see she had the fight with you in the beginning, and then she had this fight with Kelly. That's in the span of 12 episodes. She had a fight with you on episode 2. She had a fight with on episode 11. I'm confused now. Is there things happening off camera that we're not seeing? Maybe. I don't know. But it's just like... And for Crystal I know Crystal kind of... I'm going to talk about it later. I know Crystal has kind of been like, you know, she's trying to make herself look a victim and whatever. Crystal, please, when you literally said to her, like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt on certain things and I'm going to applaud you on certain things. We'll get to it. But it's like, Crystal, you literally said to Barbie's face, I have no people who've done worse than you. What is the reaction after that? I'm going to be like, what? Like, she's allowed to be upset in that moment. Was this maybe a little more irrational? Potentially. But like, Barbie had every right to be upset with you in that moment. I too would have been upset with you if you said shit like that to me. Now, glass throwing on the ground, maybe that wasn't the right move. but you're allowed to be upset. But then we get a text. Anthony reads it and says Barbie and Chris have left together. They're going to make it too, according to Anthony. He says that he's the one to make it. More on that later. But Kelly is like, yay, now we can focus on our own connections now that she's gone. And Chris is like, we're at peace. I just don't want to be a part of it. Number one, was Barbie ever stopping these from focusing on her connections? No. Number two, Crystal, you didn't have to be a part of it. You chose to be a part of it. What are you talking about? Like, your shit with Barbie was done and over with. You don't have to be a part of it. And saying we can all be at peace now. Like, I'm sorry, was she a dragon? I'm confused. I'm trying to understand. Anyways, we take a quick detour with Chris and Barbie. They're kind of walking in a forest, and Chris is like, fuck the house. And now we're just going to go back to reality. And he kind of says to her, call me whenever. I'll be there in a heartbeat. Don't you worry, all this. Well, more on that. He kind of says this might be crazy, but I love you. And she says, I've been wanting to say I love you before going to bed. She just hasn't done it. She just doesn't want to be that vulnerable. Because again, when you say you love somebody, that is such a vulnerable thing. And yeah. But yeah, in this moment, she looked so mystical and whatever with him, but she just looked so she looked great. She looked happy. So that's great. More on them later when we do the updates. So we go back to the house and we get another text. They're going to be finding out how compatible everybody is. And they are going to be basically answering. They're going to be doing a compatibility questionnaire to see if everyone's in their compatibility. So after they do the questions, they kind of go off in their own corners answering the questions. And after it's later on that night, they get another text. And I think it was Stacy this time who was reading the text. And he says, listen, so not all of us are matching with the women in terms of compatibility. So with that being said, Fletcher and Sam, you need to say your goodbyes because you're not compatible with anybody here. It's not surprising with Fletcher. I think unfortunately he just got here too late and wasn't able to really build anything with anyone. So, it's understandable. But with Sam, obviously that's really heartbreaking because he was kind of having this thing with Christina and then kind of fluttered out because of David, and it's sad. And Darren's obviously it sucks, but he's like, I'm happy that Kelly Mack is there with him. It will be good. So yeah, we say bye to Sam and Fletcher. And I'm sorry though, when I hear the name Fletcher, all I think about is Liar. Is that only me? It's not me? Okay. But then we get another text now, and I don't know who was reading this one, but anyways, we get another text. And they're basically saying, this is it. We're going to be making our final decisions here. The women are going to be leaving the house to reflect on everything. And tomorrow we're going to be meeting at Doc to, make our final decisions on our relationships. But Shauna is like, I have something I have to say. And that is, she doesn't feel like, she came here to find a connection with somebody. But, obviously she made a connection with Joey, but it's probably not going to work. So she is bowing out. And I think that is probably the best decision. It is not going to work past this house with everything that Joey wants in life. Yeah, I think this was the best decision. And Joey says, he thanks her for kind of showing him, what love is, what it means and all that. And he thinks that she's definitely a very pivotal person in his life. So, yeah. But because Shauna is leaving, so is Joey. You know what? In the beginning, I wasn't sure about Joey because I'm like, he's so young. There's no way that he wants something long term with anybody. And I'm like, there's just no way. There's no way. But he really grew on me, even with the butt biting. You really grew on me. I think he really is a person who really does know what he wants. He does have a lot of growing up to do. He's 21, but I would love to see the man he becomes in the next 10 years. He's probably going to be really, really amazing. And I think Anthony has definitely done a good job on him, but more than that, I think his mother has done a really great job with him because he seems to really respect women. I'm not saying Anthony doesn't, but I mean, again, the whole situation with Lynette really turned me off of him. So I think like he's going to be really good. And I think with Shauna, he's going to make up a really great husband and a really great father someday. So yeah. But anyway, we're going to say bye to him. And Anthony's like, listen, want to go with you? I'll go with you. I'll leave with you. And Joey's like, no, no, no. Stay here. Yeah, stay here. I think Anthony should have gone with Joey. More on that in a minute. But anyways, with that being said, the women are packing and leaving and going to go reflect. But yeah, that's basically it for this. We're going to take a quick break here. And when we come back, we will discuss what happens with everybody and what has happened since the show with everybody. So yeah, we'll be back. Oh, right. And I am back. So let's finish up this episode. So I'm going to be kind of just going fairly quickly through what happens here. Might add a little bit of other things here and there, but we're going to go pretty quickly here. So first up, we have Anthony and Connor waiting for Rebecca at the dock. And she basically says to Anthony, listen, you have the whole package, everything, but I have to go with my heart. So that being said, I want to go with Connor. Okay. There's many different things I'm feeling here. Number one, you can't say to somebody, you have the whole package, but then go with the other choice. What? Like, you, that doesn't make no fucking sense. So what Connor doesn't, it doesn't make no fucking sense. Secondly, none of this makes any fucking sense because I feel like she picked Connor because her friend told her to pick Anthony. And I think she is probably a really rebellious person. I mean, I'll be honest, I think the connection with Connor was probably a little different than her connection with Anthony. But it's just like, ma'am, it's never going to work. This man wants kids. You're 48. Sorry to say, but even if you're still have a period, you're most likely in perimenopause at the moment. You probably have maybe one good egg, Angela style. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. I don't want to, listen, if you want to fuck around and find out with a younger guy, go for it. I don't care. But don't expect, unless you have a guy who doesn't want kids and maybe that can work. But when you have a younger guy who wants kids and you're anywhere above the age of 45, it's not gonna work. I'm sorry. I'm 33 and I wouldn't date a person younger than 30 if I was single. No, but I want it because, maybe what I want at 33 is what someone wants in their early, mid, even late 20s. I'm in a different place in life. That's me at 33. I can still have kids, but it's I don't know. It's not going to work out based on those things alone. But she wants to have fun, and that's okay. Because I don't know how seriously she wants something. I don't know. Does she want something serious or is she just here to have fun? I don't know. Because one minute she says that and the next minute she doesn't. Like, I don't know. But if you're just here to have fun, have at it. I don't give a shit. Have fun with him until you can't anymore. But I don't know. But on the other hand, I'm kind of happy she picked Connor for the mere purpose of Anthony got to feel what Lynette felt for just a second. Just a second. Because I wanted her to pick Connor because of that. I don't think it's going to work, but I don't want Anthony to be happy. Sorry if that is mean. I'm a cold-hearted person. I literally was talking to my boyfriend yesterday about the fact that I'm the person that was happy when O.J. Simpson died. I think I'm the only person who thought that. But I'm the person who laughed and giggled and said good riddance. And my mom looked at me like, that's not nice of the end. So I am a cold-hearted bitch, but that's what I wanted. And I got that. Thank you very much, Rebecca, for picking Connor. But yeah, I, I would love to know what Lynette thinks about this. But I think at the same time, I think Lynette probably just doesn't want to deal with this anymore. And I get that too. But love to hear from her. If anyone knows anything about what Lynette is thinking or feeling about this finale, please let me know. I want to know. And I will announce it on the podcast for sure. So yeah, if anyone knows anything, please tell me. Anyway. So let's move on to the next. We have Kelly and Rob. Why was Kelly barefoot in this? Like everyone is out here coming in their high heels looking great. And my girl goes up in bare feet. I mean, okay, but why? Anyways, but Rob wants to continue to try to make things work with each other, even though that, obviously they're not in the same state, but they're going to make it work. I mean, my guy, you dated a girl in Russia and she dated a guy in England. This is easy. Anyway, Kelly agrees to make things work with each other. And yeah, she says second time's the charm. We'll see. Next, we got Crystal and Stacy. Everyone buckle up because, whew, she wants to make sure, this is fucking great in hindsight, that he understands exactly how she's feeling. So, he says, I know she's more than a friend. For sure, I know she's more than a friend. Fuck you, Stacy. You don't think that. And all of us don't believe you think that. We all think you're fucking with her. Anyways, he's waiting at the dock. All of a sudden, what's different about this situation than everybody else? The fact that he gets a text. And I hear the text go off. You're like, what? And that text basically said that Crystal made the difficult decision to not show up. That's how she really fucking feels, Stacey. Boo. Boom. I gotta say this. I don't know if Crystal's listening, but anyone can give this message to Crystal. Somewhere, somehow. I don't know. But I want to make this known. I'm going to put this on my post episode too. A fucking men to you, girl. You did the right fucking thing. You did the right fucking thing. I'm so proud of you that you knew that this man wasn't worth your fucking time to even go and tell him to his face. You gave him what he was giving you the entire fucking time on this show. A round of fucking applause to Crystal. Honestly. Like, there were points where she bucked me, but in this moment, I'm like, fucking finally. Good for you. He don't deserve you. Don't deserve her. He doesn't deserve any more of your time. He's wasted enough of it. Anyway, and I found out like they were here for just under a month. Like he wasted her time the entire fucking time. Like the women and the younger guys were there for 26 days. And I think the dads came in and they were there for 25. So they were there like the next day. He wasted her fucking time the entire time they were there. I'm so happy that she said deuces in the best way possible. Oh, so good. Anyway, so yeah, with that, we're ending this here. And he says he's upset that she couldn't even just have the decency to show up and tell him, you don't deserve that. You don't fucking deserve it. This is the way it was supposed to go. You been fucking with her the entire time. This is the way it was supposed to go. But he's going to take at least one piece of advice that she gave him to heart. And that is, your son is still here. So don't let that go to waste. And he says, I'm going to work on my relationship with my son. Now, I'm sorry, I get cold-hearted bitch here. Am I the only person who thought, no, he's not? Then no, he isn't going to actually do anything to better his relationship with Miles? I want to hope and pray that he does, but am I the only one who thought he's fucking with that too? he's not going to do shit when it comes to Miles. I don't know. I really don't. I hope that he did for Miles' sake. Like, I don't care about Stacey, whatever goes on with him, but for Miles' sake, I hope he did. But I just felt like when he said that, I'm like, no, you're not. I didn't believe him. Anyways. So with that, we're going to move on now to Christina David. She looks absolutely incredible. Did anyone else think she looked incredible? You also looked really good too. Kelly Mack, she looked gorgeous. Anyway, but she says, did you miss me last night? And I guess he said yes, and I don't know, but she tells him that you make me, well, eventually she gets to actually saying this because she was struggling. But she says, you make me feel safe. She's getting emotional. And she hopes that they can build on the connection that they have made so far. And he says, right. His response to her saying that was right. And it was in this moment, you're like, oh, he's not staying. He's leaving at this point alone. Wow. And the only thing he's able to write. And then it's pure silence after that. He didn't say anything after that. And she's like, okay, David, your turn. But he says, you have all of the qualities that I would want in a woman. Well, more on that in a minute. But with the geography, it's beyond realistic to, keep this going. And she says, well, maybe, but if you want it, you take a chance. And I wish in this moment that she didn't say that to him, because it made me think, like, it felt like she was not begging, that's not the right word to use, but like bargaining with him. And it's like, honey, he's made his choice. He made his choice when your friend was here. This wasn't going to work. And don't bargain with, just leave gracefully at this point. Leave with your head held high. Just be like, fuck this guy. As soon as the man said right, it was over. And I wouldn't have even tried. Because again, if geography was part of the problem, but I don't think it was that huge of a problem for him, I think he would have made that work. And she literally said like she could have seen herself moving to Texas for him. So that would have been maybe a non-issue if they actually got serious enough. So that wasn't the issue. That was not his issue. So that's why I said more on that in a minute. But he says it might feel right, but it just may not be right on paper. The fuck? Anyway, she's shocked, obviously, I think understandably. And she said, I wished I had known sooner, more on that as well. He says, I'm not good with goodbyes. It's not this one. Sam Smith. I'm not too good at goodbye. Yes. Anyway. And then Christina's like, okay, I'll just walk away. So she walks off, and that's basically it. And he's obviously flustered and all this. But he says, there's a little more on this. He says to, like, while he's walking off, in the moment, says that, the fact that she kind of seems or comes across as a party girl, he's kind of in the nesting stage and she's really done and done that and all of that, that maybe there's not in the right place. And I'm like, it's because her friend's a woohoo girl who kind of encourages Christina to be a woohoo girl. And you think that because she's a woohoo girl, that she wouldn't be a person who can be a wife and a mom, potentially. Because she said, like, she is not opposed to having more kids. Just her biologically wouldn't have been able to have kids. But that doesn't mean they couldn't figure it out otherwise. Because I think he said he wanted to adopt as well. But yeah, like, it wasn't impossible. And it's my guys over here being like, you're 41, my guy. You gotta hurry the fuck up. But either way, I think he was judging a book by its cover based on not only, well, honestly, I think this shift happened with the friend. You're judging a book by its cover. You might look at, like, for example, like Letitia, if everyone remembers, she was on Family Chantel with me. She is a person who's very different in comparison to me, but she's one of the most important people in my life. We have been friends for a very, very long time, and we're very different. But just because she is the way she is doesn't mean like I'm the same way, or don't judge me based on the friends in my life. And that's just one example. We're just very different people. And that's the case with every friend. Any person who has a friend, you're going to have different types of friends, throughout life as well. So it was kind of very ridiculous on his part, but that is what it is. Anyway, with her now, this is the more on that as well. She says, like, I ruined a relationship with Sam because of David. You don't get to go backwards and say, oh, fuck, I should have stuck with Sam. Because you had the option to make the choice and unfortunately made the bad one. But again, in her defense, I think if it wasn't for the friend that was there, things would have been very different with her and David. I think they would have left together, whether or not they would have lasted. I think they would have at least left together if it wasn't for the friend. So, but that being said, that's it for them. And then we just kind of end this off with Kelly Mack and Darren. And obviously, guys, they stay together. They're the perfect couple in all of this. And I think he says at one point, like, I didn't think I deserved Kelly Mack. I don't think anyone deserves Kelly Mack. And I'm like, that's right. That's how it should always be. You want this person, but don't ever think you deserve us. I think that keeps you a little bit on your toes. But I think the other thing too that he says to her is, I was down here looking for love, but I came here with the intention of looking for love. So, well, I wasn't looking for love. And you're thinking, what? And then he says, I was looking for you. I love them. And there's no other way this can go than that they are still together. But we're going to get to it. But that's the end of the episode, the end of the series. So before I talk about my thoughts and feelings on this season, not series, or the series season, I want to talk about the season, my thoughts on the season. Let's do the update on what I have, which isn't a lot. We're going to try our best here. A lot of this I've gotten on Reddit. So hopefully this is somewhat accurate. We'll kind of get to it. I'll kind of probably have to come back to Barby and Chris because I've had a little more, but we'll try our best here. So Barby and her potential new fiance, who isn't Chris. So this person, I actually didn't catch who this was on who said this on Reddit, but it is on the MILF Manor Reddit thread. So if you want to see this, you could probably find it there. And this person said, we obviously don't know what their NDA entails, but I think they're not allowed to post anything pertaining to the relationship, whether it's with someone on the show or not, or anything of the sort. Kind of like Sam saying that he can't tell us if his dad ended up with Kelly Mack, we'll get to it, or not, because that's literally the point of the show. This person said, I'm under the impression they're not allowed to tell or show their partners because it literally defeats the purpose of the show. But Barby has consistently been posting about her new man, her quote-unquote Pookie, and even a potential engagement. And also when she was posting everything about telling Chris to rot in hell and saying how scummy and terrible he was. So I'm going to come back to that because I do have a little more on Barby and Chris that I found after the fact. But let's kind of just switch over. Crystal did an Instagram story apparently that said this: now that MILF Manor 2 is over and someone didn't get rich and famous like they hoped for, I wonder what drama they will stir up now to remain relevant. It's so sad. She's referring to Barbie. 1000%. That's what I didn't know about Barbie throughout all of this. I did talk about my experiences with Barbie on my Twitter account. But what seems to be happening here is she's really, really a present figure on social media since this has happened. And she has been a little wacky doodle, I think is someone's example or adjective to use for all of this, for her behavior on social media right now. So yeah. I'll post this particular thing from Crystal after the episode is aired, so you can kind of see it and you can make your own decision. Because she looks great in this picture too, by the way. So I'll post it. So this was also Crystal on a Facebook group. I'm not sure which Facebook group this is, but I'll say part of what the original post was, and then I'll read Crystal's comment, and I'll post this as well. So you'll see kind of what I see. This says, I was not a fan of her being Crystal, since she had the loud bar fight in the beginning of the season. Technically, she wasn't very loud. It was Barbie who started being loud. So put that out there. But anyways, and she kept saying on social media, just wait, like there was something that was going to happen that would make her more likable. I guess I'm still waiting. Again, referring to Crystal. She said she's a beautiful, as Crystal said, she's a beautiful woman and deserves love like everyone else. But I was not a fan of her story arc this season. The whole thing seemed pointless because she was stuck on a man who showed no interest in her, and she had multiple confrontations with other women. It just wasn't it for me. Wait, what? What other confrontations did you have with other women? I'm trying to think. Who else did you have confrontations with? Barbie was one. Who's the other person? Am I just having goldfish brain? Because I don't know who this other person she had a confrontation with. And I'm thinking about it. It's like, who? Who? I mean, there was a little thing with her and Shauna. That was because of Stacey, but she didn't really confront Shauna in that way, though. So what are you talking about? I'm so confused. Anyway. Crystal said in her comment, I think what you wanted to see was Stacey reject me on national TV, but you didn't get the pleasure of doing so. As far as the bar fight, I will gladly do it again because no woman, not even you, can check me on, I think, clam. Oh, damn, sorry. I can't see bar thing. On a damn thing, especially over something stupid as being a stiff stripper. So I will post that as well if you'd like to see that. So it's kind of, I understand people kind of, because I was saying the same thing. I don't understand how this person is still stuck on Stacey, even though he isn't showing any interest. But I also kind of said she deserves better than this. So as much as maybe I wanted to like her a little more throughout this season, I guess as a Black woman as well, I really wanted to like her a little more. But let me tell you something. She shot up there for me at the end of this. She ended with a bang. So she gets all of my respect. All of it. So another thread on the MILF Manor Reddit thread was who's still together after the finale. Again, very difficult to kind of figure this out, but we're doing a lot of speculation. There's not really any hardcore or anything, but I think the only couple that seems to be it's pretty evident they're still together is Darren and Kelly Mack. So the person by the name on Reddit is named Syndromic, I think, said, I looked at Darren's Instagram last night and he posted something very sweet about Kelly. It looks like they are still together and happy, and they have a podcast together about the show as well. So yeah, it seems like they're definitely still together. Another thing that was posted in this thread was Barbie stated this is also by Pay Song something. Sorry. Barbie stated on her Instagram story that they're not together, says Chris. It got toxic quick and they split. It also sounds like his declaration of love was not well received. So they're not together, as I've mentioned. Another person on Reddit by the name of Scary Link 983 said, I read somewhere on here that Kelly and her Trump lookalike, that's harsh, can't remember his name, Rob, are still together, or at least were for a period of time after the show. So it looks like if they're not together now, they at least tried to make it work. But if they're still together, I wish them all the best. I really do. But yeah, that's basically all of my updates. Again, if anyone has anything, how the people who've left, Jamie, Lynette, Miles, I know Miles at an AMA, but like, I don't have a lot of time to do that. But if anyone has any information on any of the people who left prior to this, any of the couples that didn't work out on the show or haven't worked out since, let me know. Bring it my way. I will definitely talk about it on another episode. I'm curious to know who made it, who didn't. But my thoughts on this season, it was a really good season. I think it was definitely better than last season. I think last season was a lot for people with the sons and moms. I mean, I loved it. That's why I'm still here. But this was a really great concept with the DILFs coming in and with the sons. And it was really good. I enjoyed this a lot. I think next season, because I think this did pretty good. Curious to see where they'll film next season. But if they're permanently staying in Canada, come on over to Muskoka. It's fine. That's really good. But if we do another season, I think they need to bring on the daughters and the sons. Again, obviously. Not necessarily the sons, actually. Rephrase that. Bring on the younger guys, obviously. But I think they also need to bring on the daughters. I think it's time. Bring on the moms with their daughters and these younger guys. Maybe you can sprinkle in some dads. I think you should. Yeah, I think that'd be a great concept. But anyways, that is it for this episode. This is it for the season. Hope y'all enjoyed it too. But next week, we have the new show coming. Can't remember what it's called right now. 11 something. Unforbidden Love, that's it. We are covering it, of course. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.